All right, welcome everybody. This is Barney Kuntze, creator and founder of the Animal Wellness Summit, and I'm very happy to be here tonight from the sunny south of Florida, Bonita Springs, Florida. So I'm living like an American, y'all. Is that how you guys talk down here? We get made fun of a lot when we're, being a Canadian because of our very interesting accent. But anyways, we're not here to talk about where I am at or my accent, but I just thought I'd hopefully put a little smile on your face. So I just want to say welcome for those of you who are here live. And if you're watching this after as a replay, then good on you. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at just Animal Wellness Summit. You can get all these live weekly coaching calls that we do that are usually weekly, unless something happens. Sometimes stuff happens. As Forrest Gump said in the movie, this famous line, shit happens. And but we have a great call for you guys tonight. Peter Ciancarelli, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, he'll give me a nod. Because when I first saw his name, I didn't actually know exactly how to pronounce it. And I'm not even going to try to tell you how I pronounced it. But at any rate, this is going to be probably a very info-packed call, but just sharing a lot about Peter's story. And without further ado, I want to bring Peter on here. And by the way, if you guys could just do me a huge favor before, and actually as I'm bringing Peter on, so he's going to slide right in here, and he's right on screen. So welcome, Peter.
Hey, everybody.
So as you guys can see, we both go to similar barbers, and there's an old saying that grass doesn't grow in a busy street. So that's a compliment because we're both smart and intelligent gentlemen, right, Peter?
Absolutely.
Right. So guys, if you can do me a huge favor, just put a comment in to let us know that you can hear us, that our hair looks wonderful and amazing, and just to let us know, because this platform is amazing and awesome. I say this every time, but they Be Live TV, which is what we use. But there are times when it isn't so awesome, and so we just want to make sure that everything is nice and wonderful. So I see a comment just saying hi from Terry. So, and let us know as Peter's going to introduce himself. So I'd like you guys to just drop in the comments where you are tuning in live from, because I know I had somebody on a training the other day say that's corny, like nobody says that anymore. And I'm like, well, I say that every time because I think that I'm in Bonita Springs, Florida right now. Usually I'm in Ontario. Peter, you're in a northern state, aren't you? Massachusetts. Right. So I remember on one call, we actually had 12 countries representing with the Animal Wellness Summit on one call, which I thought was pretty cool. So you don't have to, but if you just want to, then that would be wonderful. So Peter, I want to give you I'm going to put you on solo, and I'd love for you to just let's just pretend and be, as descriptive as you feel need to. But just tell us a little bit about your story and a little bit more about who you are, because I know that we're probably going to get more into this a little bit later. But let's just pretend that some people they have no idea who you are. Just tell them a little bit about your background, and let's start out there, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Hey, everybody. I'm Peter, and this is Allie. I've always got her in this. Allie. She's sleeping, resting. But anyway, that's my dog, Allie. She just turned 11 years old, end of January. Hey, Susan, how's it going? Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. So Allie, we got her, my stepfather adopted her when she was 8 weeks old off a pet finder. She came from the South Tennessee, which is pretty common. They have a lot of dogs down there, a lot of overpopulation. And a rescue here in town in Massachusetts transported her down here from the South. And we got her, we actually had her when she was 9 weeks, and she was already spayed. So she was spayed at 8 weeks, which is just insane. Like I didn't know any better. I didn't know that was bad. I just didn't even cross my mind, right? And I just went to the vet down the street, the local conventional vet, right? They're in my town. They must be good. They're a vet. So I went there, and I went out and bought Allie kibbles and bits from the grocery store and some Purina Alpo, and I just thought I was being a good pet parent, and basing my decisions solely off what was on the can or that bag. And, they had little green pieces, which meant it was vegetables, and red pieces, which meant meat, and, and so on. Right. And so I was just a classic, like, story of, I fell for that for that whole marketing thing from the pet food companies. And Allie was a very nervous, insecure, fearful dog from the beginning. And when we first got her, she was shaking and hiding behind the grill out back. Then alert her out with a piece of bread. She would hide in the bushes. My aunt would come over and like rock her like a baby. She remember one night, sorry, she was just crying in the crate. We're trying to crate train her, and she was just crying. And so I let her out and brought her into my room, and she slept in my bed with me. And things just got like progressively worse from there. Not only just her behavior, but her health. And she became very reactive and not aggressive, but she saw another dog. She would just be doing 360s in the air and jumping and biting my arms, biting my shirt, just like doing whatever she could to get to the other dog. And it wasn't in a friendly way. She just, if she got into a lot of scuffles with dogs and fights, and she just can be kind of a a dog that is just really hard to handle. So that's the behavior side, which I won't get too much into anymore. But health-wise, she always had diarrhea and didn't really want to eat much of her food. A lot of GI issues. I could always hear her tummy gargling and loud and nauseous. Always wanted to be panicky, go outside, eat grass, and throw up whatever was bothering her. And we'd bring her to the vet. Metronidazole, antibiotics. That was a common thing for her to be on all the time. Like she was on it for years, on and off, and it completely killed and shot her gut. And we know that is 80 to 85% of their immune system, the gut, and it communicates with literally everything in the body. So that's really important. And again, at the time, I didn't know that, and the vet wasn't telling me that. And I'm not anti-vet. I'm just, I'd like to know, why I'm doing something. What does it do? Why am I giving it? And I wasn't at that point in my life or in my time where I was researching why am I I just, they're the vet. They said, give this. I gave it, and I trusted them. It wasn't until she really started to go downhill that it was really, really bad. Like she just looked awful and sickly, and she got cancer at 5 years old, and it was a stage 1 mast cell cancer. So low, very low grade. I literally caught it. I was looking for a tick on her, and I found it in this little area right here, on this, skin fold right there, in her like mammary area. And I brought her to the vet, and it was like a hard purpley reddish lump above the skin, and they did an aspirate, which again at the time I didn't know that aspirating it could make it blow up and get it angry and make it spread quickly. And so I'm lucky that it didn't. Like 2 days later, they had it removed. They got clean, wide margins, and again, they didn't discuss with me why it happened. They just said this happens. And so it was around that time that I was, excuse me, it was around that time that I was beginning to ask questions and go online and interact with everybody on Facebook like you guys are all doing, and I'm still doing. I'm forever a student, and I think that's really important that we should all be continually trying to learn. But I would ask questions. I would find out that the Advantix or the Frontline was not good for them, and I'd go back to my vet or call them or at the next appointment say, well, I heard that this wasn't good, that it's poison, what is it? Why am I giving this? And what do you think? So they would basically just tell me, don't look on Dr. Google, you know what I mean? Just telling me, don't go down that rabbit hole of looking for better, or exact words right there. Don't go down the rabbit hole looking for better. And, don't talk to people online, just do what we say. And if I didn't give that drug or, whatever they wanted me to do, or that vaccination, they would, in my medical records for Allie, it says owner non-compliant. So having seen that now years later, it's really upsetting that they would just say I'm non-compliant and tell me not to learn or not to be an active participant in my dog's health, and just take what they say. That's not someone you want to be your partner. Vets should be your partner, and so now this vet opened another clinic, and they were bought out by Banfield. And so, I did call him years later when Allie was doing so much better. And I told him everything I did, just from a point of, trying to share with him, like knowledge wise, like what I did to help her. And he got very defensive about it and took offense to it and accused me of accusing him that he tried to kill my dog, which was not, I wasn't trying to do that at all. So, we just agreed to disagree. And he's not the right fit for me, but for many other people, he is the right fit. But it's just, I don't think vets go to school wanting to harm our pets, but there is a conflict of interest. They are, they stick to what they're taught. Like he doesn't, think outside the box. He's not open-minded. He sticks to what he knows. So I just spent the next couple years after that searching for new vets. And I remember finding one woman the town over, and I told them, I said, look, my dog is very sick. I'm not going to vaccinate her anymore. Will you see her as a patient? I would just like cold call, trying to find somebody that would see me. But I knew in my head, in my heart, what I wanted to do. Like I did not want to revaccinate her. And I said, would you still see us as a patient? They said yes, although they don't totally agree with it. They still agreed to see us. So that was better. That was a step in the right direction. And then a year or so after that, I found Dr. Roman, who is just amazing. And I'm really fortunate to have her as my vet. And you guys might all know her from my group, Allie's Canine Cancer Crew, or from the coaching call that Barney did, the last coaching call they did for the Animal Wellness Summit, where she talked about ozone and microbiome restorative therapy. So that's my vet, Dr. Roman. She's amazing. And, she admits to knowing very little, in the scope of the whole world. Like she doesn't know, like we all don't know much. So it's important to be open-minded. And, she tells me how it is. If she thinks something's positive for me or Allie, she'll tell me, oh, it's positive, but it could go this way, it could go that way. And she'll be honest if she has never done it before, but she thinks that it's positive. And so I'm always honest with her with what I'm doing. And I tell her everything I'm doing for Allie, and she's getting a lot of support. But, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing for Allie, Dr. Roman has never done before. And it's just uncharted territory is like what she normally says. But, if it wasn't for all of you guys and for all of, for Facebook and social media and talking to strangers, reaching out to people, a shot in the dark, someone who I'd never known before, she might not have gotten better, because if I had listened to that vet and not looked on Google or Facebook, then she might not have gotten better. So I think everyone should, don't get upset if their vet says that. Find somewhere else. Go to ahvma.org. Partner with a holistic or integrative vet. You want somebody that's going to be your partner and your support. And remember, like you make the final decision. They're your dog. They work for you, and it's really up to you. Don't let them pressure you into doing anything. Educate yourself. But Allie got that cancerous tumor removed. And then I started working on healing her from the inside, making changes little by little, getting rid of that Advantix or Frontline flea and tick pesticide when I found out that it wasn't good. It was poison. The food took me a while. I would graduate to like a PetSmart or Petco, like the most expensive bag, which I thought was going to be the best food. The more expensive it was. Totally not true. The type of marketing, like the stand with the beautiful colors and the fruits and veggies and all that, the glossiest bag, the one on TV that I just saw, Feed Your Dog Like a Wolf, Blue Buffalo. I would just, I went through all the brands, I feel like. Probably not, but I went through a lot of them. And which, is not a bad thing, rotating brands, rotating proteins, if you do have to feed kibble. But it wasn't until a friend of mine told me to switch her to raw food. And so but at that point, she was so sick, she didn't want to eat anything. So I was literally lightly searing the raw food and almost shoving it down her throat to nurse her back to health. And she got stronger and stronger and stronger. And the switching her diet to raw definitely did help her GI issues. But a lot of it was still diarrhea or loose poop. But it was definitely, I feel like putting her on raw got her stable. And then we were able to, work on her IBD at that time was the biggest thing, the severe gastroenteritis. I went to the nutrition clinic at Tufts University. They gave me a list of dry dog foods to feed her. And they said, don't give her raw, you'll kill her. So she did come off raw for a little while because I got scared. And then she ended up going back on because, my gut was telling me like, I need to go this route, and you guys have to listen to your gut. You have to listen to your gut. That instinct is there for a reason. So I did that and it was the best thing I ever did. But there is that honeymoon phase where she did wonderful for a little while and then started to decline again. And so, finding Dr. Roman and doing that, what she does, microbiome restorative therapy, where she takes the poop, the feces from her healthy dogs, their microbiome, their poop, and she does rectal ozone gas up Allie's bum first to reduce biofilm, and then she gives the dog the new biome, her dog's biome. And there's like 500, so many microbes in there. You just can't get that with the probiotic. But 500 species, 1,000 subspecies, I think she says, and we don't even know. We're still in the infancy of the microbiome. How much, what kind of diversity is in there? So going back to what she says, like we still really do know very little, which is crazy, But
Yeah.
Hey, Barney, you there?
Hey, no, yeah, I'm good. I was just gonna jump. I just want to jump back in for a second. I was just gonna say that was good because as you were talking, a lot of little things that came up. I was gonna jump in, but I wanted to let you keep going.
Oh, I'm interrupt anytime. I'm like,
hey,
my breath.
well, I'll come back on here now. I just wanted to kind of let you have the screen there for like the main, sharing about your story.
That was that was the beginning of like when she got really sick. I mean, I still feel like I didn't do it justice because it was such a stressful time in my life.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you how stressful it was. So I really feel for everybody that has dogs that are not well. But that is kind of the gist of it,
Yeah, I think that. Can I ask you how long was that? How long ago from when you first found out to where, like, how was it? A year, 2 years, 3 years?
She had cancer about 6 years ago, and then I would say like she was sick for years, and it just got worse and worse and worse, to the point where like we were trying to. One of the craziest things was when we were at Tufts University, because my local conventional vet. At that point, I remember like it was yesterday. We were sitting on the floor. She was rubbing Allie's belly and telling me, GI issues are really tricky. And then she referred me to Tufts University, Cummings School of Veterinary Medicine here in New England, in Grafton, Mass. And I went to see their internal medicine specialist, Dr. Stone, and they did a test for Addison's disease. I think it's the ACTH stimulation test. I don't know exactly what it does, but I think it measures the cortisol. And they found that she had low cortisol, and they did something where they gave her a shot and it brought it back to normal range. But I don't really know exactly what that was. But they ultimately said to me, and I remember it, they said, we don't know what's wrong, bring her back if she gets worse. And I had heard that for years and, spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, like I'm sure a lot of our viewers have. And I just remember being so pissed that like I'm by myself. Nobody has my back, and they're the professionals. So I walked out of there. I remember, Dr. Jean Dodds was actually instrumental in the beginning with me. We were emailing nonstop. Like she gave so much of her time to me, like selflessly, helped me with some of the food sensitivities and the GI issues in the beginning, and kind of giving me a map as to where to go next. And that was the start of it. Is really invest for Allie. I mean, just in general, this should be anyone should do this if you can afford it. But investing in sourcing your good quality meats, because if you're feeding, conventionally raised beef, that cow could have, been eating genetically modified corn and all this other crud that your dog could be reacting to. So when I switched her to raw, I made sure it was like one protein for a while that I knew she could have based on that Nutriscan test. And then I would make sure it's the highest quality, like grass-fed, pasture-raised. At this point, I had spent so much money. I didn't know if I would be able to maintain that new food for her, but I had to see if that was going to make the difference before. And if it did, I would find a way to make it work, make a sacrifice, maybe stop getting coffees, or stop going out to eat as much, or you know what I mean? Like there's always a
Yeah.
way to make it work.
Yeah, well, I think, as I've heard there's a couple people that were commenting saying that your story, actually, this is from Jenny here. And by the way, guys, I put the link to Peter's group. I hope that's okay, Peter, because if not, we're live and I already put it on here anyways, about your group. But if people can join, so it's a free Facebook group, that there's about 2,200 people in there. So they can just join in there. It's really helpful for support.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it started as a group for dogs with cancer, but it's kind of evolved into just proactive, integrative, common sense, functional medicine, and we support. It's a non-judgmental group, so if you feed kibble, no judgment. We want to help you get onto a better food and improve that bowl. That's really what it is about. Not just the raw food movement, but just like the fresh food movement. We want to. There's so many different camps of feeding, and we're a small percentage, this raw feeding community. But when a lot of us attack one another, we want it. It's time we. So.
Yeah. I know I'm laughing because I've been in the position. I've had people ask me like, well, what do you do? Like, I never really actually had anybody say this to me. Like, why are you doing this Animal Wellness Summit? But I've had people like, well, what are you doing running this thing? You're not even an animal wellness expert. And I'm like, well, true, but I have had a pretty strong vision and a calling to bring to fruition. And part of my gift is bringing people together with, that have things to care with people, things to share with people who care. Right. And so bringing the community together, a lot of the people you mentioned, Dr. Jean Dodge, she's a presenter for us on the summit and she is amazing. Dr. Margot Roman, she is going to be on the monthly mini masterclass next week on ozone therapy, which is going to be pretty, if I could say it this way, off the hook.
Yeah,
pretty awesome. And so I wanted to say that when as my point with that comment earlier, without getting off track, because sometimes Barney's brain does do this, is bringing it back full circle and back on track, is that I've observed that, and I really just, it's anything when people just can get very, no pun intended, dogmatic with their thinking and just kind of like, this is the way. And I don't know if there's any Mandalorian fans out there, but there's the guy that says, this is the way. Mm-hmm. And some people live their lives like that, where it's just, this is the way. Well, the one thing that I've noticed with a lot of the presenters, including yourself, is saying, hey, well, here's what worked for me. Here's what worked for my clients, my patients. This may or may not work for you. We have presenters even in our group that are 100% all raw, and others that are like half in the middle. But for the most part, it's raw or eating whole foods, or like Dr. Ruth Roberts has the crock pet diet, where she's found that if you, some animals actually, if they overconsume raw foods, it can cause a lot of candida and yeast and other issues that can come along with it. And so I think, just to support your comment, that I think it's really great to have that space. And if I could say it, if that makes sense, to hold the space for people to be able to, have that support. So that's pretty awesome with your group, because really that's the intention for the Animal Wellness Summit, is just to bring together like-minded pet parents and animal lovers to support each other.
Thank you, Barney. Yeah, that was kind of the idea. It's just grown. I think we're at almost 2,300 members right now, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
New people every day, which it's sad, like new dogs with cancer coming in every day. And it's just, I'm always doing videos with Dr. Roman. So if you guys loved Dr. Roman and you guys think you mesh well, join my group, and we do bi-weekly podcast or vodcast video where we take questions in advance and we answer them live on camera. Dr. Roman is the vet, so she has the floor, but I will chime in with experience and what I know, and we just kind of bounce back and forth, and it's just a nice discussion. We can engage live too, so it's great for those that don't have a vet like Dr. Roman, or just need more help, like I was in that boat once, to be able to ask a question and hopefully get something where it will lead you in the right direction. Maybe it won't be the answer, but it will help put you on that path to the answer. And that's kind of the goal, is that, so.
Yeah, which is I'm just going to interject and just say that that's great because, like Maureen's saying here, which is pretty awesome to hear, Maureen, that Peter's group is the reason my dog is still alive and thriving, which is pretty powerful.
Oh, that's amazing. I know Maureen really well. She's amazing. She's such a good dog mom.
Yeah, well, it's so good on you, Maureen. That's awesome and great to have you on here. And I would say also that, part of the, as you were talking, I got the sense that, it's a common thought and belief that there's this, the negative side of, getting cancer or, with the perspective on some vets that are very, dogmatic in their thinking or just very linear in their thinking and not able to really think more holistically. But I see it as a progression and an evolution, and that there's a purpose to a lot of these situations and conditions and ailments. And you look at really, I mean, let's just wave the magic wand and say you never picked up Allie and she didn't get cancer. Maureen's dog potentially might be not here anymore, right? And all of the other people that's been created as a ripple effect from that. So
yeah,
I think that's one thing to say now. And of course, some could say, well, Barney, that's easy for you to say. But I mean, I've lost my dogs and pets in the past too. And I can't say directly for cancer, but most of us are going to outlive our pets and our dogs, most animals that we have anyways. But I'm sharing this just because then when we see that as the purpose to kind of wake us up in the journey along becoming more evolved and conscious about our decisions and the options we have. Because the thing is that I think just imagine what life would be like or would have been like, Peter, if you didn't go down this path, so to speak. That obviously happened for a reason, but it doesn't for 1 second mean that it makes it easier to just, I spent 10, 15, 20,000 or $7,000, however much it was in the healing process. But I strongly believe in the universal principle of the law of reciprocity and fair exchange. So I think that whatever, all the work and time and energy and effort that you're putting into your group now and that you put into Allie's healing is going to help a lot of pet parents, which you're obviously already doing that. So I just wanted to commend you for that and also to give you the support and encouragement to keep going, because it's just awesome that we can all work together.
Thank you. Some days are tough, and you get down with all the sad news constantly and the heartbreak. But it's the dogs are my reason to keep going. And everyone here is an awesome dog parent, and that's just goes for everybody. I think about this. I think I have this thought actually all the time. It's so freaking amazing when you stop and think about that everybody's online just trying to learn and help their dog. Whether or not they have the info, or they're there or they're not, or they're in the middle of the journey, the fact that everyone's online and there's this community that we have this is freaking amazing. And I think it's just wonderful that everyone's trying to do right by their dog. Even if they believe in one thing and somebody believes in another thing, just it's awesome. So
yeah, and I also just, which is amazing for sure. And I think the encouragement that we can all give each other is to know that there's no real dead end. It might just be that with certain things that you were getting, like you were saying before, you're getting frustrated with like feeding raw and not feeding raw, and then all the fear that's involved. And really, when you look at it, if you were to remove yourself from the situation of with that vet at the time, I think you said it was a he, genuinely believes that he or she's doing the right thing based on their programming and their education, which kind of programs the mind to just kind of that this is the way we do it. And there's so much regulatory challenges with the vets that they do have to be conscious about the recommendations that they give, which I think inherently just makes it challenging. But on the other hand, when you talk to somebody like Dr. Margot, she is pretty awesome. And we did a call a couple weeks back on here, the live weekly coaching call. And she talked about ozone therapy and some other things as well. And she just said, it's simple. And I asked her, I said, well, it's simple now that you've gone down this path and have been down practicing for a couple of years. And I think she said it's 37 or 42 years that she's been practicing. So as somebody made a comment earlier that you're pretty right here, Susan, saying you're so fortunate to have Dr. Roman.
Yeah, I really am. And, I'm trying to make her like more, out there for everybody else to benefit
Yeah.
from as well. You know, I want to get her out there too. And one of the books that, so when I was at Tufts University and they ran that, you know, Addison's test, and they said, come back if she gets worse. We don't know we don't know what's wrong. Come back if she gets worse. What ended up happening was Allie got sicker and sicker and sicker, and you know, Dr. Roman said to me, this was about a year when I first went to go see Dr. Roman. She said, Peter, I think your dog has something called Plechner syndrome. And she might have talked about this in the past with the live. It's an endocrine immune issue. And here's the book. It's called Pets at Risk: From Allergy to Cancer, Remedies for an Unsuspected Epidemic. Tufts University does not, and conventional, they don't believe in Plechner. They think Dr. Al Plechner is a quack. But they couldn't help my dog. The fact is, they could not help her.
Right.
They gave up on her. They sent her home to die, is what I say all the time, because that's the truth, you know. And I do have some resentment and bitterness towards that. But, you know, I mean, Dr. Roman said, I think your dog is Plechner. They ran the Plechner test. It was like a year later, because I didn't believe in it at first. I was like, what is this? I'm not going to spend $300 on a test. I've never heard of this before. Again, that was my issue, not being open-minded and not, you know, but it's just having spent so much money. I was like, I wanted to do the fecal transplant and a couple of other, you know, some supplements, and wasn't ready at that time. But she got worse, Allie, and Dr. Roman said, we really need to do this test. So I did it, and she came back as positive for the syndrome. And it's elevated estrogen, low cortisol, low T3, T4, so she's hypothyroid, and adrenal insufficiency, and low immunoglobulins. So she's immune compromised. So the traditional way the Dr. Plechner treated it was with low physiologic doses of prednisone. And so I was very scared of doing that. I don't want to do prednisone, because to me that was the beginning of the end. She would have had to been on it for the rest of her life. And 2 months in, even if it was a low dose, it was still a decent dose. And 2 months in, I just didn't like how it was making her. So I called Dr. Roman one day. I said, please give me a call. I need to talk to you about this. And I said, I want to wean her off of it. What do you think? And at that point, I didn't have a game plan, but in my head, I'm like, it's like survival mode. You just go into that zone where it's like, all right, there's somebody out there. There's someone out there in this world that has a dog like Allie with Plechner syndrome, and they're not using prednisone. And even if it's one person, I'm going to find that person. So I went on my search, you know, I was determined, and we persevered. I ended up was Facebook friends with Dr. Karen Becker. Everybody knows Dr. Becker. And I was just really fortunate. But it was similar to when I reached out to Dr. Dodds, and she was, you know, gave me all that help in the beginning. I reached out to Dr. Becker, and I said, Dr. Becker, you know, my vet's Dr. Roman, and my dog has Plechner syndrome. Have you ever heard of this before? Can you help me? My dog's getting sick. She's dying. And she's like, Peter, it's illegal for me to give you medical advice, but I have heard of it. And she said that she knows Dr. Plechner. They were colleagues and good friends, and they had always talked about doing a video, a roundtable discussion for Mercola Healthy Pets on Plechner syndrome and how to treat it, etc. So I said to Dr. Becker, Dr. Becker, Al Plechner has passed away. And she said, what? And she didn't know, because she's so busy in her world with being the world's most famous vet. She went back in her email and she saw an email from him months prior, before he passed. And she thinks that he was trying to give her information because she has the reach. She has the audience, right? I think that was kind of like Dr. Plechner's way, trying to get more information out about this syndrome. And so at that point, Dr. Becker was really shocked, and she reached out to all her vet friends. And months later, she came out with this PDF on the Inside Scoop, which is a paid subscription group that they do to go to Pause for Change. It's a really wonderful cause. So much good information on there. If you're not part of it, I think it's $10 a month. You should really join it. It's amazing. And so she put out a PDF on desexing dogs, where she went over Addison's and Cushing's and Plechner syndrome, and why desexing is not good, how it pertains to cancer, metabolic, musculoskeletal, behavior and cognition, all these different things, how it can create this whole shift in the body. And She then, at the very end of the document, she lists her ways she treats it. So if your dog has low cortisol, adrenal insufficiency, she lists the different supplements that she's used. So I just picked one, and she has elevated estrogen. I went to that part. I picked a supplement, and I added it to my protocol. So it didn't say do this, but I looked at the symptoms that Allie was displaying based on the test. It showed low cortisol, low cortisol, high estrogen, and the others. And then I just picked the supplements from that document, and it was a shot in the dark. I was like, all right, this is it. If this is gonna either help her or it's not gonna work. So I did it, and when I went to retest her, her numbers were actually worse. So what happened was she's not absorbing her food. I was feeding her 2.5 to 3 pounds of raw food a day, and she was ravenous, like scarfing it down, still hungry, but was losing weight. And so she has malabsorption. That's one of the things with Plechner syndrome is malabsorption. So all the food, all the supplements, the thyroid medication, everything I was giving her was basically being flushed down the toilet because she wasn't absorbing anything. So I gave her, through Dr. Roman's suggestion, vitamin B complex and vitamin C, and then additional B12. So in that B complex, she's getting all the B vitamins, but then she needs additional B12 for absorption. And it's water soluble, so she'll just pee out any excess that she's not using. And she gained 4 pounds in that week. In that week alone, she gained 4 pounds because I was feeding her so much. So I was like shocked that now, there's the answer. Sometimes you need to solve one thing before you can move on to the next. In this case, it was I had to figure out the absorption piece before getting her hormones balanced and with the supplementation and diet. So that was the key, is that the absorption. And every weekend she gets ozone in her scruff because the vitamin C stings. It's an injection in a syringe that I buy from the vet, and I have to put it into the ozone pocket. So it ozonated saline in her scruff, right up here, and then I inject in my group. I post videos of this all the time. So if you join my group, I'll be posting. I'm constantly resharing, making new videos of the same stuff because new people are coming in all the time, and I'm repeating myself a lot, which is fine. But so if you go in my group, you'll likely see me giving her ozone and doing the vitamin shots and giving her a fecal transplant and all those things. But that was the key, is the absorption. And then when I finally retested her, her numbers were pretty much perfect, just off by 1 digit. Her estrogen was still high by 0.01, but it was 25.07, which is very elevated. And then I brought it down to 25.01, so near normal. And then everything else was perfect. Thyroid, cortisol was new. So instead of the prednisone, which is a corticosteroid to raise the cortisol, I reached out to Animal Essentials, Greg Tilford, one of the best animal herbalists on the planet, and he recommended licorice root. So it's a $16 tincture, an herbal tincture, licorice root, that I gave her. It raises cortisol naturally, and it's really powerful. It's an anti-inflammatory. A lot of people use it when they're weaning off prednisone or in place of prednisone because it has some of the same effects. So that brought our cortisol up really perfectly to normal range. And then the immunoglobulins, I use, Zymogen, which is just like colostrum. And that's how I was able to balance our hormones. It's a lot to maintain. I'm still doing it, but it's quite a lot. And yeah, the easier way is just to give the prednisone. So, for people that have dogs with Plechner syndrome, if you can't afford all the supplements and the diet, I mean, sometimes some things got to give. So you have to kind of prioritize, and every situation is going to be a bit different. But Plechner syndrome is something that I'm really passionate about now, because it was what was like. This book is about Allie, and this syndrome affects a lot of pets, and is a reason why a lot of dogs get cancer and things like allergies. And if your dog's not getting better, then you want to go for that endocrine immune blood test, which is hard to do. It'll be a pain in the butt. A lot of how hard it is to do that test, but it's worth it. and a lot of pet insurance companies do cover it. I'm working on a website right now with Dr. Fletcher's family and some veterinarians and Dr. Margaret Roman, and we're going to simplify what Fleckner syndrome is, and we're going to have videos, different treatment protocols, and we want to break it down piece by piece, make it super simple, so that people that were in my situation years ago with a dog that's almost dying with no answers can have that information where I didn't have that. So anyway,
yeah. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. That's I was just a couple things. First of all, from my background as well in holistic health, there's a saying that we well, still what I say we would use, but my mentor passed on to me when it comes to working with people, but I'm pretty certain that it works with animals as well, dealing with ailments or conditions, or just trying to help somebody get healthy. It's best to not to treat the person that has, or not, it's best not to treat the disease that has the person, but the person that has the disease. And there's a big distinction there. So there's these diseases and ailments get them put into categories, and there are certain things. What you really, the way I interpreted what you said there was that there's a lot that's happening, and you kind of had to go at it from different angles until you found out the right angle. Well, it was down to nutrient absorption, and you said before about the quality of the meat and the quality of the food that you're getting and that your animal's getting. I mean, that sounds so simple, but there's another saying that you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit, right? You got to have good quality material that's going into the body to make good building blocks. And so that's pretty awesome. And speaking about Dr. Margot, I wanted to just share, you talked about the ozone therapy. I put the link up in here, but next week, it's actually on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. She's going to be on doing I was going to post this here, but I wanted to leave your group up there, on ozone therapy. So it's for our VIP and platinum members that are our paid members for the Animal Wellness Summit community. They get it free as part of their membership. But then those of you who are potentially interested in learning from Dr. Margot, it's going to be an hour and a half training on ozone therapy, what it is, how it works, the benefits of it, and how you can use it. We did a call 3 weeks ago, and there was about 50 or 60 people on live. And I said, because people were asking, I couldn't keep up with the questions. And I just said, well, because Dr. Margot was like, well, I could go on about this all night. Mm-hmm. And so then that's why we decided to do the monthly mini masterclass. So it's a training where you can, they pay $27. You get the video, the audio, the transcript, so you can download it, own it. You'd have it for life. And then she's going to make herself available for questions and answers. So I just wanted to put that out there because you were talking about it. Dr. Margot has been so influential and impactful for you in the journey with Allie. But could you talk a little bit more? The reason why I asked about that, unless you wanted to take things in another direction, but do you want to just share briefly a little bit about that? Because I think that there are people like me that was on the call before where I'm like, well, I think I know what ozone therapy is, but what exactly is it?
Yeah, so ozone therapy, let me show you really quickly. So Dr. Roman really likes everybody to be doing this. It's an ozone machine. So here's the oxygen tank. This is an O2 oxygen tank.
Yeah.
And this right here is the let me see, the Hummingbird kit. It's the ozone generator is in there with the different pieces, and basically the oxygen from the tank goes down a silicone tube into the ozone generator, and it produces O2 goes to O3, so it produces ozone. And I give Allie rectal ozone gas, which ozone has 100 plus different benefits. I won't get into it now. You'll hear about that from Dr. Roman on Wednesday with her class. I really hope all of you guys can join and learn about ozone because it's amazing. And be asking your vet to do it. We got to drive that change, guys. We got to ask for it because if we don't ask, we might not get it. So ask. And if they don't do it, then it's up to you. It's up to you to learn about it and become the expert. And I know learning something new and doing something new when you don't have your vet behind you can be nerve-wracking. But get an ozone machine. It's worth the initial investment. I think that cost me $1,000. And I bought it when, my aunt's dog passed away from after 12 years, passed away from cancer. And I was like, you know what? I want to be doing ozone all the time. I want to be doing it in the ears. I want to be doing it rectally, drinking ozone water. I'll give it to her vaginally once in a while, vaginal ozone gas. She loves to play in the pond when it's dirty, right? She got a bacterial infection, and it was a Sunday night. It was a Sunday, and she was peeing like nonstop out we were out in the woods on a walk. She was peeing every like what seemed like every 10 seconds. She was squatting to go pee, and a lot of times the stuff wasn't coming out. Pee wasn't coming out. So I brought her home, and I'd never given her ozone gas vaginally before. But I took out my ozone syringe that I bought from O3 Vets. That's the company, O3 Vets, and I got the special ozone syringe with the catheter, and I put ozone gas in it, and then I lubricated the catheter, and I gave it to her vaginally, very, very carefully, not to traumatize her or to hurt her. And I gave her 2 treatments over the course of that one day, and then I think another treatment the next day. But it stopped. It killed whatever virus or bacteria or whatever was going on there. And I really do think it was from swimming in that pond that was really dirty. And she was. Yeah. I never had to bring her to the vet. I told Dr. Roman about it, so I'm not recommending you treat your dog at home and don't ever bring her to the vet. But what I'm saying is that was my tool that I had in my toolbox, a very powerful tool in my toolbox that I had at my disposal that I used. And I told Dr. Roman what I was doing, what was going on. And if that didn't help her, I would have brought her to the vet the next morning. Or if Dr. Roman thought, I would have brought her to the emergency vet that night if it was serious. But like the next morning, the plan was to bring her to MASH after work for a UTI or something, or cystitis or something, which would have been on some kind of nutritional support, like cranberry and D-mannose and things like that, vitamin C, probably lactated ringers, ozone. So I tried something at home, and that was the reason why I bought the machine. It's just amazing. So there's so many different uses for it. So the ozone's phenomenal. I encourage everyone to learn about it. The other thing that I want to mention here is I always have. If you ever come over and you look at my fridge, you'd probably scream your head off. I have a bag of poop here. Dr. Roman's dog, Vienna or Hannah, usually one of those two, their dog's poop. And I buy it fresh, raw, and sometimes frozen. I put it in the fridge, and I give Allie a little piece every day because we don't know, according to Dr. Roman, a dog with Plechner, can they hold on to that new biome? Can they really hold on to it? I don't know really truly what that means, but I think that because of all the metronidazole I did years prior, completely killed her gut. We've had to do a couple rectal fecal transplants in the clinic, and then I give her a little piece orally daily, most days, to maintain that gut health because
keep the culture going.
Yeah, and there's so many things in the environment like that can harm our gut, like glyphosate and Roundup, or like situations where we had that mosquito virus. What was it called? I forget the name of it. Over the summer, the
corona.
Not coronavirus, but it was that. I forget the name. If anyone wants to chime in, feel free to. But they did an aerial spraying of a pesticide, and then they drove around on trucks all throughout town here, and they sprayed with the big giant fans all the different lawns with the pesticide to kill off all the mosquitoes. And everyone was freaking out about it, and it was serious. But I think the media blew it up even more than it needed to be, which is not typical. And Dr. Roman Dr. Roman and I did get on the news in Hopkinton, where her clinic is, and we talked about this and how people should really be using ozone.
Zika.
No, not the Zika. Shoot, I really can't remember what it's called.
Well, something else. It'll come back to us. I was actually just going to say, Peter, if you there's a couple questions I'd love for you to get into.
Sure.
Okay, it's a couple from Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how you doing, my friend? So Kevin's asking. Anna's saying goodbye. So Kevin, do you give your animals any probiotics?
Yeah, so I give Adored Beast. I rotate. So the poop is considered a probiotic. and you don't want to feed your dog any old shit. You know what I mean? It has to be from a healthy donor dog.
Yeah.
And Dr. Roman has her dog's poop tested. And so it's very methodical and thought out and strategic and intentional. So there's a reason for all that. But as far as probiotic off over the counter or on the market, Adored Beast Apothecary makes a great product called Love Bugs, or Phytos Flora. Phytos Flora has love bugs in it, but it's additionally has strains from canine feces and soil-based probiotics. So soil-based probiotics are also really beneficial because a dog's ancestral environment. A lot of people talk about ancestral diets, like raw food diet, prey model, such and such, but we also need to be thinking about a dog's ancestral environment, and that includes like puppies. When they're born in dirt, and so they're getting that dirt on their paws. The ancestral diet was covered in dirt. They're getting it in their mouths and licking it off every body part. So I buy Allie's meat from a place called White Oak Pastures in Bluffton, Georgia, and it just gets shipped to me frozen on dry ice. And I reached there. They practice regenerative agriculture. So all the different animals, they're coexisting. They're all eating natural diets. There's no fracking. There's no there's no chemicals or whatsoever. It's all beautiful. So I reached out to them. Like, the animals are pooping on the soil. They're peeing on the soil. It's feeding the microbes, which is making the plants be healthier, which feed the animals, and it's just this life cycle. So the soil at that place is teeming with life. So I reached out to them and I said, "Hey, can I have some soil from your pasture?" And they said, "Sure." We've never had anyone ask me that before. So they said, they gave me a prepaid packing shipping label, and they said, "Just send us a bottle that you want us to fill, and we'll send it back to you." So it didn't cost me anything. Things like that. Like, don't be afraid to reach out and to
be creative.
And be creative, right? So
your ass.
This is nature's probiotic, healthy soil. Unsprayed is really important,
Yeah.
So and I will rotate also between the Adored Beast probiotics, which have like 14, I think, species or strains. I forget the terminology, but 14 strains or whatever. Whereas a lot of probiotics only have 1 or 2 or 3 maybe. So in the gut, there can be 5, like Dr. Roman said, a 14 species probiotic. If your dog has been on antibiotics, that probiotic is not going to do squat.
Right.
And you can also do harm by overpopulating with the same, species or strain all the time. And there needs to be that diversity. So that's where healthy soil comes in. That's where healthy donor poop comes in. I'll also do something called the cultured coconut, which actually is this bottle, the cultured coconut, and it's a Canadian brand. So Barney, yeah, you might be familiar. Cultured coconut. It's
I'm just saying yay for Canada.
Yeah, yay for Canada. Yay for Canada. Yeah. I love Canada, by the way. My stepfather is from New Brunswick. And so it says nature's finest probiotic. It's fermented organic coconut milk. And it has 1 tablespoon, has a natural synergy of 4+ trillion live bacteria and 40+ strains. So this is a great thing to give as well. So I rotate between this as well. And you can buy it online, the cultured coconut, or in store if you're in Canada. And then I also will do like the Dr. Mercola one. So just rotating.
Yeah, I was just going to say, one of our other presenters that was new to us this year, Dr. Peter Tobias, Dorinda was saying here, Gut Sense is a great probiotic by Dr. Tobias.
Yeah, that's another good one for sure.
Which is great. So that's awesome. So Anna, I think, moved on already, but she said no one knows how to heal dogs' food allergies, and 80% of dogs have it, which I think definitely is.
Was Anna being sarcastic, or did she really move on from the poop?
Oh, no, moved on. There was just a comment made. Okay, this is getting very crazy. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, bye-bye. So Kevin Haney on this again here said, how did your dog tolerate all the things you were giving it? Did the dog get used to it and see it feeling better? Because that's a great question too, because
yeah, it is.
to answer this, I would just say that there is again, this is just, I'm not in the, I mean, I have with our animals as well. But from my experience, humbly speaking, 20 years as a holistic lifestyle coach, working with thousands of human beings, is that it's very wise to all consider as you were getting into all this stuff. But I did hear you say, there was you were learning, and then you started educating yourself and taking all this stuff, and then you simplified and
it's 20 hours.
Pardon me and my computer telling us what time it is in military time. But the comment is this, is that it's just as wise to ask, what should I take, like probiotic or this supplement or that, but it's also a wise thing to ask, what not so much what to take, but take away, to simplify and then start to build back up.
That's a good question. Like I said, I started her on raw food, and it was the company was We Feed Raw, which was formerly Real Raw, REEL. And they were, I no longer use them. I no longer think it's a wise idea to feed strictly prey model and a ton of meat, because meat can give you cancer and things like that. So they do need meat for sure. But I now feed like raw keto lifestyle ratios, more healthy fat. But anyway, go back to that question. I can get off topic. Sorry. Is that I started by sourcing the highest quality raw food I could find, and I would stick to one protein for a little while. But I fasted her for 2 days. Literally, I didn't feed her for 2 days to give her stomach a complete break, and then I switched her to cold turkey. And yeah, there was some diarrhea, and I kind of threw her into it all at once, like just went extreme. But that was kind of like something that I didn't really have time on my side either, because I really felt like she was heading towards euthanasia. It was that bad. She was that sick. So it was just kind of like a shot in the dark. But it can get really muddy, because a lot of supplements for dogs have things like beef liver flavor, and if your dog is allergic or sensitive to beef, then that kind of eliminates that supplement. And you have to get creative, and it gets muddy, like I said. But she did fine with it. The thing that really helped the most was the rectal ozone in the microbiome transplant, the fecal transplant, because you have to heal the gut. There was just so much gut trauma there from the overuse of antibiotics that was the missing piece. And some dogs are so medically fragile that they need more than one, or they can have a bad reaction. I mean, it could be detox, like Dr. Roman says, or maybe they need another one, or they're just so unstable that just becomes a management at that point. Not every dog with IBD can have the results that I'm just lucky. I really am blessed that Allie has turned around the way she has.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes it can go that way, and sometimes it can. And I think you were saying before about feeling a little bitter and resentful about the stuff that happened in the past, and it can, there was another lady here actually, just to say about the challenges that can surface. But who said this? Anna just said she had lost her dog. So yeah, Anna was on earlier. I think the lady that left said, I lost her dog to pancreatitis.
Yeah.
And I was going to mention to Anna, if she's still on, or if you watch the replay again, Anna, because I didn't know if you had, as we say in Canada, pieced out or not. But basically, there was a call by Brent Atwater, and it's on. You can just put it in. If you have or are dealing with, I should say, if you are dealing with challenges with, if things don't go as Peter's talking about, or as you've talked, Peter, with going that they are going better and did go better, and she's healing and she's healed and she's better. Mm-hmm. But if they didn't, and your dog has transitioned or animal has passed on, I would highly encourage you to go and watch that. It's on our YouTube channel. You can just put in Brent Atwater. So just Brent and then AT like water. So, but it's all one word, her last name, and then put in Dead Is Not Done. For some people, it might be like a little bit out there, but for most of you, I'm gonna make a presumption that it's gonna be pretty bang on, in the sense that it just helps to give you some sense of comfort with easing the burden that can come up, and all of the challenges, the emotions, all of the stuff that can happen when we lose a pet or our animals. And as she encourages us to to consider looking at, or to terming it or saying it, referencing it, is that they've transitioned or moved on, because I mean, we're all mortal beings anyways. None of us are going to get out of here alive, as with our pets. And I don't say that to like joke about it in a disheartened way at all. I say that to be, genuine and authentic, to give some of you who may be going through that, that you're doing your absolute best on this live call, watching as a replay, joining Peter's group, joining our Animal Wellness Summit, talking to Dr. Margot Roman if you can, whoever you can follow and get the information. And if things don't go the way as planned, I just want to give you that encouragement. I don't know why, I just get this really strong sense to make this very clear, to not take it personally like you did something wrong, or you did something bad, or you didn't do something right.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that a lot on our calls with our presenters, and just in general. And I don't know. I think just that wanted to share that.
Yeah, it's important I mean, it's a lot. Most of us here have learned through tragedy, and it's unfortunate, but at least we've learned, and it's better than not learning. I think it's the journey, the process. When you look back, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful journey. So, I am thankful that I've, went through this with Allie, and I'm still learning every single day. Like, I'm still learning just like everybody else. I'm not an expert. I'm an expert in Allie.
Yeah.
Everyone's an expert in their own dog. They know their dog. Yeah. And it is a journey. So, and I think one of the things that Dr. Roman says is that, it's not just about what we learn for our dogs. It also reflects and helps us as well. Like the ozone, I'm a teacher. A lot of you know I teach special education, and so I just came back from February vacation, and right before that, for a month straight, like everybody had the flu and had diarrhea and puking, and the only thing that kept me from getting it was the ozone. All I did was the ozone water every single night. Drank high concentration ozone water. It was a little bit drying to my throat, but I felt myself going down a couple times. Like I was coming down. I was like, crap, I'm getting it. And I'm going to be sick on my vacation. I'm going to be bedridden. The ozone water, I swear to God, it killed whatever I was going through. So it's just wonderful to have it. Like Dorinda says, it was one of the best investments she's ever made for her dog at home. And I'm sure for you as well, you can benefit as well if you already haven't. It's definitely worth. I really hope everyone joins on Wednesday and listens to that webinar. But yeah, I think that
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm excited to learn more about it myself, and I know I was talking to Dr. Margot about it, and I think that again, it is just it's another. I know, since not necessarily say it that way, that it is just another tool in the tool belt, but it is a tool in the tool belt, and it sounds like a very powerful one. Because I think that there's definitely a lot of interest. So for sure, if you guys are interested and want to learn more about it, she's going to be on at 1 p.m. And it's something that you have to register for. So I did put the link up here. You can email us at support@fullcircleholistichealth.com, or you can just go scroll back up and find this link, or I'll see if I can repost it again. I don't think I can.
So I want to address Alice Webb just made a comment, struggling to find a diet that works for my girl. IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, and pancreatitis, and now something else going on. Can't find a protein that she tolerates. Prescription diet's not working either. She's not losing weight, but is always hungry. Takes lots of meds for back pain, nausea, and reflux. So I wanted to say I'm not a vet, and it's illegal for me to give medical advice. This is all based on my own experience. But Alice, I want to give you some information that hopefully you can look into. So I would advise find an integrative or holistic vet. So first thing is go to ahvma.org, find a holistic or integrative vet in your area, work with them where they're going to heal your dog, because it sounds like you're in the loop of the conventional loop of like your dog is nauseous, you need a med for nausea. You have diarrhea, med for diarrhea, back pain, med for back pain. It's just this like vicious cycle where like then chronic inflammation sets in, and your dog will get sicker and sicker and sicker, and it's just this like decline, right? Whereas we want the dog to heal, and we want them to age. We want them to age beautifully and gracefully, and really delay that process. I mean, we may all die from cancer and or heart, stuff. But we really can slow the aging process, and we want to work on healing the body, the immune system, the gut. So what I would do is, fecal transplant and ozone. Ozone can really help pancreatitis. So finding a vet that does it, or reaching out to Dr. Roman. Join that chat on Wednesday. I hope you're there on Wednesday for the ozone chat, and ask her about pancreatitis and IBD as well. Rectal gas, reduce biofilm in the gut, and then you can implant the new microbiome. And then can't find a protein she tolerates. The prescription diet, I wouldn't have her on a prescription diet. I would do a fresh food diet. And I can't say what diet would be best, but I will tell you that to make it easy for you, I would do something like, excuse me, Answer's Pet Food. Answer's Pet Food. I don't know where you're from, but
she said, I was just going to quickly interject. She's from the UK. So Alice,
you're in the UK.
There are some presenters that we have on board that are in Europe that we can give you some insight on. But I think that if you want to contact us or contact Peter to get some more insight, there are some of the presenters that are amazing. They do phone consults, and I feel like that might be something that would be helpful for you.
And Alice, I want you to look into this woman in the UK, Emma Rutherford. So it's EMMA, and then Rutherford is RUTHERFORD. Emma Rutherford. She does nutrition, and I think I'm sure she does more. So look into Emma Rutherford in the UK. She's awesome. She'll help you. And but I think getting off that diet, healing the microbiome. So, and there's things like for back pain, and you can use like I'm a big fan of cannabis, medical marijuana, not hemp. I work for a collective called King Harvest. You can go to us, kingharvest.org, and we medical marijuana. Any mammal with an endocannabinoid system can have it. Female, feline, canine, human, etc. So CBD for anti-inflammatory, depending on the critical illness. THC is great. So I think our CBD is 18-1, has 4% THC. And the important thing is I want everyone to know that you have access to it. It doesn't matter where you are, you have access to it. You can get it. You can, even if, be responsible about it. Be responsible. So high THC is not toxic to dogs, but they can't have every single form of medicine. They can't have chocolate. They can't have gummy bears. Don't be feeding. But accidents happen. They can't be eating joints off the floor in the park bushes. Those are things that are dangerous, and you have to start low and go slow, and microdose and be responsible about it. Make sure you have third-party lab testing that shows how much the purity, the potency, it's tested for, chemicals, mycotoxins, pesticides, all that stuff. You want to make sure you have clean labs, full certificate of analysis, all that stuff. Work with somebody who knows what they're doing if possible. If that'd be the best case scenario. That's why you'd reach out to us. We do free holistic consults, no obligation. Just reach out to us and talk to us. We can help you. Again, that's kingharvest.org. And that could be really good for back pain and nausea as well.
Yeah.
So
no, that's good. I was going to post this here because we're well over here for the time that we usually go for the calls, and this is but it's all good because it's good. There's lots of meat on the bones here. So Susan was just saying, that King Harvest has made a huge difference in my dog, which is awesome. Thanks for sharing there, Susan. Now, I think somebody had asked, and Tina, it's something I want to pull up, and let's finish off on that. Somebody said something about the link. Elvira, were you referring to the link for Dr. Margot's ozone therapy call, or for the AHVMA? Because I did put that up here. So here it was when we had shared this for Alice. So for those of you looking, if you're in the United States, for the American Holistic Veterinary Medical Association, which is ahvma.org. And then Dr. Margot's the link for her call here is right there. You just go.animalwellnesssummit.com/MMM10. That's monthly mini masterclass 10. So if you were asking, I want to make sure that the link got on here on the call and on the screen. And then Peter, I wanted to give some love to my Canadian friends here. This is Tina's one of our VIP members. Saying wrong one. Saying I wish we got answers in Canada, but I know that Tina, there you have still as well access to our presenters to ask questions. I wanted to pull up her comment here, and maybe we can finish off and giving Tina some insight. And pardon me, by the way, if I didn't get to your question. I try my very best, but sometimes it's just impossible to get to all the questions. So if you were able to read there, Peter, what are your thoughts on that about what she was saying?
I'm trying to, Tina?
Yeah.
What was the question?
When I put it up on the screen here, I presume you could have saw it. Can you see it there?
I find it very odd that my dog has high ALT liver enzymes and high post-acid bile results. He is on milk thistle and Denicil. When I feed him commercial raw, his breath is just awful. But when I change to freeze-dried or good quality kibble, his breath, and then it goes out.
Cuts off.
I'm assuming it's saying breath is good.
Let me see.
I don't know what Denicil is, and again, I'm not a vet. I can't give medical advice, but I know what I do. And Allie doesn't have high liver enzymes, but if she did, I would be using something called Liver Tonic, which is Adored Beast Liver Tonic, and they're a Canadian company. I don't know. You said you're in Canada, right?
Yep. Okay. Tina's in Pilsenberg.
Okay, awesome. So Adored Beast is a Canadian company, and they're, I think, one of the best brands for supplements for pets out there. And I know Julianne Lee, her and her best friend Andrea Ring, they're Allie's and my homeopath, but they make amazing products. So Liver Tonic doesn't just support the liver; it's organ support. So it promotes healthy liver, kidney, pancreas, gallbladder function. All the different organs support one another. So it's got milk thistle in it, also dandelion and some other homeopathic remedies in there. So look into that. That's been known to decrease liver enzymes, I believe. But Julie has videos on her YouTube channel where she talks about each of her products and what they're good for. And reach out to them. Their customer service, their team member, Kaylin, is phenomenal. She's amazing. She's super friendly and helpful. They'll definitely help you.
Cool. And that was the Adored Beast?
adoredbeast.com or .ca. They have a Canadian shop as well. There's a couple items in their Canadian shop that are not available to us in the States, which, but I find a way to get them through my homeopath in BC. A couple things coming to me now. If anybody has a dog that is spayed or neutered, I think they should be reaching out to Andrea Ring, who's the homeopath in Canada and BC, Julianne Lee's best friend. And
what's her name?
Andrea Ring, Andrea Ring. So AndreaRing.ca is her homepage. She's an animal homeopath, also a human homeopath. But she sent me a homeopathic remedy. It's a vial, small vial with tiny white pellets or granules. And I give it to Allie once a month. It's called Canine Spay/Ovary. It's a homeopathic remedy made from canine ovary. Years and years and years ago, before there was, processed food and toxic interference and chemicals and over vaccination, all that stuff. So once a month, I give her 3 doses spaced 8 hours apart. And that reminds the body, since she doesn't have her uterus and ovaries. So to prevent, I really want people to not go through what I went through as far as all the metabolic chaos that has Allie gone through. So if you can do a $30 homeopathic remedy, either, testes if you have male or ovary if you have female, the little vial lasts you years because you're giving such a tiny amount once a month for the rest of your dog's life. It is harmless. And Julianne Lee used it for 20 plus years in her clinic with a lot of success. So reach out to Andrea, get the vial, if, the testes or the ovary if you have male or female, $30, I believe, plus shipping or something if you're in the States. It's amazing. And she'll be on it the rest of her life. I'm getting the testes one from my parents' dog Shadow to give to him, even though he's still kind of like happy and playful and humpy. Like, I want to prevent disease. I want to prevent that metabolic syndrome like Pleckner's if possible. I want to use it as cancer prevention, things like that. So I really advise reaching out to Andrea, saying hello, getting that remedy, and possibly doing a homeopathic consult with her if you don't have one. Really, she spent so much time with me on the phone teaching me about homeopathy. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. And I think that's awesome, because it's just important to have those options for sure. And Tina, I know as we're going to kind of wrap up, I know Dorinda just made a comment here about do you know what is causing the alt values behind the bile acid issues? Because you said her dog had similar issues and did ultrasound and found a tumor in the liver. So it's good to at least just look into it. And this is where, to a degree, it can be like opening Pandora's box, in the sense that where you can go, as you said, made the comment jokingly earlier, Peter, about going down the rabbit hole. And it can be, and to some degree, people just, I would imagine majority of people not on here, but on average, majority of people will just kind of make the decision that's easier at the time, because it takes less effort. Just buy this food or buy this medication. And because it does take, so I want to commend you and everybody else, say all of us, give each other a pat on the back for taking the time to be on a call like this, investing the time, because it is a big investment in time and energy, effort, not only in yourself, because you have to have the energy, the vitality, and the brain power to make these decisions and do the research and keep asking the questions, right? So
yeah. I mean, like right now, like, the weather was like 63 degrees out today and sunny. It was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And the last time we had a beautiful day like this in the middle of the winter, the ticks came back out like all of a sudden, and I pulled 2 ticks off of Allie. So right now, spring's on its way. So I would be thinking about flea and tick, what you're going to do for flea and tick, what you're going to do for heartworm. Don't wait till the last minute. Get a plan of action down. For fleas and ticks, I use the like a raw amber collar. It's raw amber can have anti-inflammatory, pain relieving. It repels naturally fleas and ticks. I do the bug zone tags. They're chemical-free insect barrier. I attach them to Allie's tag. I use Buck Mountain parasite dust, and it's got organic neem and yarrow and food grade diatomaceous earth. I sprinkle that on our coat, and I use an essential oil, tickless bug repellent spray. It's just essential oils diluted in water. It's a mom and pop company based out of New York. You can also make your own. There's a bunch of brands out there, but that's what I do for flea and tick. And if I ever see a tick on her, I remove it, try to get the head out. I clean it, and I put ozonated olive oil on it from Pure O3. It's in my fridge. It's just an ozonated oil. It reduces inflammation, kills bacteria and viruses and fungi, all of that beautiful stuff. And it's one little jar, costs $20, can last you a long time. Just keep it in the fridge, because you'll be glad you have it when you need it.
Yeah, and it's better to use an herb or a homeopathic remedy or an essential oil potentially, or something that's not going to break the bank, that if it doesn't work, worst case scenarios, it doesn't work. It's not going to cause, for the most part, an adverse response. So Tina says, thank you so much for answering my question. I will look into it. Ultrasounds, nothing. Wonderful talk, Barney and Peter. By the way, you have awesome hair. She didn't say that, but I just injected that comment there. And then Susan says, thank you, Barney and Peter, for taking your time to teaching, sharing, and helping us pet parents to do what we can to help our fur babies, which is awesome. Good on you, Susan. I know you've been quite active here in the comments, which is fun. And Kevin, I wanted to answer this because Tina, I know you're one of our VIP members, and Kevin is a platinum member from Wisconsin. I think you're from there, right? I like to have fun with my accents in the United States, because my Canadian accent comes out when I'm out and about. And the answer to the question, Kevin, is that yes, you will receive a link that you'll be able to register. It'll be on Zoom. And he's asking about the call with Dr. Margot, and it's not next week. It's actually in 2 days from now. I might have made reference to that, but it's this Wednesday at 1 p.m. So that's on your lunch break there, Kevin. I know you do that during your work day. So that's 1 p.m. Eastern. And by the way, if you guys want to participate, you're like, well, crap, that's during the middle of the day, Barney. Like, what's going on here? Because we usually have them at 7 p.m. at night. These calls with Peter, or the live weekly coaching calls, are usually on every Wednesday, 1 p.m. But I had to rescheduled just due to multiple reasons, and so we're doing it tonight. So woohoo! And then the monthly mini master classes are usually at 7 p.m. But this one in particular is this Wednesday, February the 26th, 2020, with Dr. Margot Roman about ozone therapy, and it's going to be a doozy. And if you can't make it, just know that you can still go in, and if you're a member, you're going to get access to it anyways. If not, you can still purchase it for just $27. And if you can't be there live, you can actually email in questions to our support desk, just support@fullcircleholistichealth.com. I will do my best to answer and moderate on the call with her, or the training, because we do this live. We record it live, and then we send out the replay so you can download the video, the audio, and the transcript. So I just wanted to make sure that was out there, so that if your mind's really spinning after this call, that to not feel like you're going to maybe be losing out on anything. I can't imagine why your mind would be spinning in any regard, but
well, I just want to, I mean, I could talk for hours, but I want to leave you guys with one thing here. Like this is what I do. And I think it's important, be a forever student, never stop learning. For example, these are the notes that were in my back pocket today. It's just things I want to research and look into, not just for Allie, but for myself. One of the things I'm really interested in right now is circadian rhythm, and our biological clocks. I'm up till 1 a.m. and the lights on, and the fluorescent lights and all that, really lights that mess up your clock when it screws. Yeah, it screws us up, and you're not getting quality deep sleep. And dogs experience this all the time. It's one of the biggest reasons for cancer is that they're indoors. When we have to work, no question, we have to go to work to pay the bills and whatnot, but they're inside, and they're sitting on that couch waiting for you to get home, exposed to TV, artificial light, etc., and their biological clock gets messed up. So one of the things I want to look into is, get rid of fluorescent lights and get old-fashioned incandescent light bulbs, maybe a tabletop dimmer switch. Go to sleep earlier, it's a goal. Wake up earlier, go for a short brisk walk, and then a walk around dusk time. Get dimmable lamps, things like that are really going to help, with the whole biological clock thing, as well as not feeding her food super late at night, kind of feeding within a 8 to 10 hour window, working on that. It's not just what you eat, but when you eat. So these are all really important things. Like, the details matter. So be a student forever, and always challenge yourself to improve upon what you do for your dog, and it's going to benefit you as well most times. So
yeah, I would agree, and I 100% support that comment for sure. I would say that I first heard this quote by Napoleon Hill, and then when it comes now from an audio program, I didn't get the chance to listen to Napoleon Hill live in the person, but he said that he always considers himself green with knowledge, because you think of an apple, the next stage, if you consider yourself to be ripe, the next stage is you rot. So if you're always green, you keep growing, to keep learning and keep growing. So that's awesome. And I would just say on the circadian rhythm thing, that's something that I actually know a fair bit about. And it is a huge indicator in the effects on our health and well-being. And I would say that and that speaking to Sarah May, you're still up. You better get to bed there. She's in the UK here. I was just going to say hi to Sarah May, and there was another lady, I think it was Alice from the UK. So she's up till 1:30 in the morning, and we have some people on from the Philippines,
eating chocolate
all over. And Kevin, my bad, I was just having fun with you, but I thought you were from I like to say this, you're from Minnesota. I thought you were from Wisconsin, but now we're just getting silly. But
in April from Philippines, not Singapore. I'm sorry, April.
Oh, from the Philippines?
From the Philippines.
One
she was from Singapore, but she's from
Singapore.
The Philippines.
Oh, okay. I thought you did say from the Philippines.
She'll probably think that's
so this here, and Alice is eating chocolate in bed. Good on you, Alice. But you know what? There is some balance of this. Dr. Bernie Siegel, who's been on here, very amazing man. And the books he's written, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, he said that it's not so much what you eat and drink as it is the emotion that goes down with it. So if you're eating that chocolate right now, just enjoy every ounce of it before you go to bed. But I wanted to say something really important. My mentor and coach in holistic health, his name is Paul Check, and he's a bald-headed dude like me. He's 50 something, maybe close to 60. Some people might consider him a little out there, but the dude is ridiculously intelligent, walks his talk. And his book, I think, Peter, I wanted to give you that encouragement. It's called How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. And he makes it extremely simple to understand the circadian rhythms, the effects, meal timing, what, just like really basics. And I just have a feeling like you would learn a lot from him on the circadian rhythms, as would all of you. He's really, really awesome.
Awesome.
And
great.
And I wanted to also end off here with last couple comments. I probably said end off here. My wife said to me one time, she watched one of my calls. She's like, you said I'm going to end off here 15 times. Apparently that was the highest time. And I'm like, when you get inspired and you're having fun, it's hard to pay attention to the clock. Elvira, I wanted to comment because I imagine some of you are going to have this question. If you can't see the video, if you're not on live, can you still get the video? The answer is yes. And that's what I was saying, that you can purchase it. And even if you miss it and you're watching this a week later and you're like, oh my gosh, it's way after, because it is in 2 days. It's on February the 26th, 2020. So I'm totally dating this video. But you can still go to our site and purchase it, and then it should be available as an instant download. The video, obviously, you can just jump straight into it. And Peter, you said that earlier about helping Dr. Margot get her knowledge and wisdom out there. And her and I have been talking about resurrecting some content that she worked on with about 50 different vets,
awesome,
like 10 or 12 years ago, and putting it on a site as well. Like, there's just amazing. They were going to do this big documentary, but it never got out there.
Awesome. Do it.
So I'm going to work with her on that. And yeah, Peter says this, or pardon me, Susan said this. Peter has that affected me too. He always leaves me with my head spinning, my brain smoking.
She's awesome. Barney, what was the name of the book you mentioned? She wants to know.
Oh, the book is called How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. And you can get it, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. If I could be so bold, and I'll put here by Paul Check. The dude's just just go on YouTube. He has so many YouTube videos, but I really, really, really strongly recommend and highly suggest, if you believe anything that I say or trust me at all, my single piece of advice about holistic health, to just make it really simple, is buy that guy's book, because I first learned about it in 2005 when it first came out, and got a signed copy, one of his original copies. And one of the guys that I was really following at the time said he really believes that this is like the Bible. I use that term loosely, the Bible of health and wellness for holistic health. And I'll put it up here on the screen. And I would agree. I used to use that book in my gyms and in my practice when I was coaching clients more actively, as the Bible, so to speak, jokingly. But I would just, there were so many basic things in there, and he teaches about the foundation principles. And you mentioned about the circadian rhythm, but it is true. It is, the more that we learn about ourselves, in the sense about our circadian rhythms, about nutrient absorption and our diet, our microbiome, our meal timing and spacing, and all that stuff, it does, for the most part, carry over to our animals as well.
For sure. I think right now, I mean, I used to be all about like cancer and how to treat and prevent, but now I'm still impassioned about that. But I also, even more so, I'm like evolving into, I want to, because Rodney and Karen are talking a lot about it, I want to learn more about circadian rhythm, biological clock, same thing. What you should eat, when is the best time to eat it, how to age better. So ozone helps all that. Ozone will help you age better. It increases NAD in the body, like Dr. Roman talks about. And one of the other things I do for Allie is I give her a supplement called NMN, which is nicotinamide mononucleotide, which is makes your head spin, but it's an NAD precursor. So it provides your cells with more, your mitochondria with more energy, because it decreases as you age. So you can take it, your pets can take it, but obviously, like CBD and other things out there, everyone's taking advantage of that new craze and coming out with brands and supplements. So you want to be careful. Do your research. And so again, it's like I told Dr. Roman I'm doing that. She thinks it's positive. She's never used the supplement before. She told me ozone can increase NAD. So I'm trying to do more to help her age better. This morning, Allie was playing in the yard with my parents' dog Shadow, and she was outrunning him. for a good solid 5 minutes, just doing around the yard, like incredible. And I did a recent genetic age test on her. She just turned 11, but she has a cellular age of 7. And I've always like she looks and acts like a 7 or 8-year-old dog. So that's kind of where my head is going right now, is that I want to learn how to help her age better. So every morning I do this. And if you were shocked by the poop, you might be shocked even more. But like every morning she gets a longevity cocktail, which is, she gets like a heaping teaspoon of raw unpasteurized heavy cream from a local farm here, which is booming with probiotics and good healthy fats. And then I give her every 2 days I give her an eyeglass dropper full of red wine, Malbec red wine, which is, they say, is toxic to dogs. But again, I talked to Dr. Roman. I said I want to do this. Jake Perry, the 85-year-old retired plumber in Austin, Texas, he had the world's oldest cat, twice, 34, 38 years old. He was giving his cats an eyeglass dropper of coffee every morning, and every 2 days an eyeglass dropper of red wine to circulate the arteries. He didn't know that there was resveratrol in there and the benefits of resveratrol. And if you include it with fats, and it boosts it up by 5 or 10-fold. But also, it's not just, resveratrol it's made from grapes, but they're stressed out grapes. It's stressed grapes, and you want your body to fear the whole thing. Look up David Sinclair. David Sinclair, he's in Harvard or MIT, I believe, longevity guy, and he talks a lot about making your body fear adversity. So fasting, let them go hungry once in a while. Exercise to the point where you're so puffed and huffed, like you feel like you're being chased by a lion. Like the world's gonna end. You're gonna die. So that's good for you. So something that's in large amounts could be deadly to you. A little bit of it, just to stress your body, can make you live longer. So
that's why I'm a big exercise proponent, and if you don't use it, you lose it.
Well, I agree. So I'm a big hiker. I love being outdoors in the woods hiking. I love to. One of my things is identifying, foraging for mushrooms, trying to learn about that. But I started fasting recently myself. I can go pretty much all day fasting, and I feel great. I drink a keto coffee in the morning, bulletproof coffee. I feel wonderful during the day. I usually don't have, that's my breakfast. I'm not hungry enough to eat lunch. Whereas if I'm drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee, I'm crashing by 9:30, 10. I'm snacking on everything. I just feel like I'm awful.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
It's not good for the energy system.
Yeah, and I'm running on sugar, and I just feel like if I don't eat in that next hour, I'm going to die. So night and day difference, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing with Allie. But, I once a month, I fast her for just about 3 days, a 3-day fast, water fast. And then once every week, she fasts for 24 hours. But that one time a month, I want her to look up the word autophagy, okay, and mTOR. We want to suppress mTOR. These are all things that we should be researching. It's fascinating, really fascinating. So,
well, I think that you're going to be having your hands full with all the research, which is awesome, because that's the sign when you follow those inspirations. That's when you open up new neural pathways in the brain, and that's what I was saying earlier about evolving and all that.
Someone did say, somebody did say to me once, well, if you're fasting, Allie, why aren't you fasting yourself? And that hit home. Like, so I am trying to fast. I'm not going 3 days once a month, but that is my goal. That would be awesome. You want to look up somebody by the name of Peter Attea, Attai, Peter Attea, and he talks about this. It's really fascinating. I watch a lot of Joe Rogan's podcasts. He does a lot of 2-hour, 3-hour podcasts. It's great.
Yeah,
guys, just be a student forever. Be open-minded.
It's for sure. I'm in a park right now. Let's for real end off on this, because my wife's messaged me wondering where I am, because I said we were going to be an hour, and that was an hour and 40 minutes ago. And Sarah May, we're gonna have to coach you on your circadian rhythms, because now she can't sleep, and I don't think she was the one eating chocolate, but she's in the UK. There's a whole lot of Googling to do off the back of Peter's info. Wow, what did you? I just totally got off track with my brain there.
No, I mean just be a student forever. But I don't feel like you have to learn it all tonight. Just Get your sleep.
Yeah, just write it down. Well, unless you're Sarah or Alice and you're all hyped up on chocolate now, and you're 1:30 in the morning and you're in the UK. I was going to say this. I'm in. So it's a park. It's a 55 plus park in Florida, and I've been sitting here just observing people, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way their bodies look, and I'm like, I said to my wife, without judgment, I'm like, this is a great example for me to be able to see what I don't want to look like when I'm 65 and 75 and even 80. Because I have people that I know, clients of mine, that are in their late 60s, early 70s, and can run circles around people half their age. And I only share this because I'm inspired doing many different things, as you can see Peter is as well. And the encouragement, I think, really is that just finding that something that really gets you alive, that you're inspired doing, so you can do what you love and love what you do.
Yeah.
Because there is, Dr. Bernie Siegel talked about that with all the surgeries that he did, that a lot of people are, when they're pursuing something that they're just inspired, they enjoy doing, they're always that next thing that's down the line. It keeps, it's a spice of life, right? When you feel like, oh, I'm done now, I'm retired, I'm getting in, the plane's coming into land and coming in for the rest of my life, and things are kind of getting over, it affects the psychology in the brain. And it's just to stay fresh. That's why I said earlier about the quote, you stay green with learning, and to avoid considering yourself that you're ripe, because the next stage is you rot.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And real quick, Lee, we're in Bonita Springs, down where it's extremely hot here. So we're here for another 2 weeks. We've been here for 3 weeks, and we're heading home back to Canada March the 6th. So I will be on this Wednesday as we're going to wrap things up. And I know there's a couple other comments I wasn't able to get to, but we're going to wrap it up here. I just want to say, guys, thank you for joining. If you think Peter and I did a great job, let us know. And if not, then keep your opinions to yourself. Okay.
I want to hear them.
Yeah, no, we'll keep this thread alive and going, because when you comment on here, of course, if you're watching on YouTube or on our members area, you won't be able to, the comments won't be affecting this call on Facebook. But if you're watching this after as a replay, you can comment, ask questions, tag myself or Peter. We'll do our best to get back to you. You can also contact Peter, join his group, as I put in here as well. You can scroll back through all the comments. I put as many of the links in there as I possibly could. And that is that. And I would like to say to you all, stay blessed, stay grateful, stay humble, stay hungry. And that's how I finish. I've been doing daily live videos, Words of Wisdom with Barney Quincy, on my personal page. If you're interested, you can follow along with some of the stuff I'm doing there. But Peter, I want to say thank you for spending 10 minutes with us and sharing about 3 cents worth of knowledge with us.
Thanks, man.
That's Barney's way of making my Canadian sarcastic sense of humor, saying thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And or as they say down here, all y'all, thank you for taking the time to join with us and having some fun. And you guys have a great night. And again, Peter, last thing, one sentence, if you can condense it, what would be the final nugget or words of wisdom that you could leave everybody with?
Like I said, like I've been saying, just be a forever student. Keep learning. Like the biggest thing for me, if I listened to, interact with people online, reach out to people. Don't be afraid. The worst somebody can say is no. Reach out to somebody, say hello, network, share your story. We need more storytellers. Stand up and drive that change. Ask for ozone. Ask for fecal transplants. Ask for the things that you want, that high IV vitamin C therapy, whatever it is. Like, ask your vet for it. And if they're not open, like I talked to April the other night, April Alcantara, she's on here. Hi, April. And we did a Skype chat the other day, or a FaceTime chat, with me and her veterinarian. She had a ozone machine shipped to her in the Philippines, and she had no idea what it was until I told her, and I put her in touch with Dr. Roman. And when she got it in the mail, finally, after weeks, because there were some issues with the shipping, I helped them with their first ozone treatment at the vet clinic. I spoke to the vet. It was amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And, so just, things like that. Like, you got to make it happen. You got to make it happen for yourself, because nobody else is going to do it for you. So don't get down on yourself. There is hope out there. There are answers, and they're out there. Just we all need to work together as a team, as a community, and help one another, which is
Yeah.
why I have my group, safe, non-judgmental place you can go and share your information. I share everybody's work. Today on the live, I dropped Andrea Ring, Dr. Roman, a lot of other people, through vets. Like, it's just about sharing people's work,
Yeah.
because I feel like collectively we all have to work. If you don't have a vet like Dr. Roman, or awesome vet like that, a partner, then you might need to create your own team. Have an animal homeopath or an herbalist, or take a class or a course yourself. Like, it's more work and it's a pain in the butt, but you got to have to, kind of drive that change yourself and make it happen. So
Yeah.
a little bit at a time, piece by piece, you can do it.
By the inch, it's a cinch. By the mile, it's a pile. So just keep chunking it down and making it happen, doing your research. Staying up till probably now 2 a.m. Sarah and Alice in the UK, and April's just starting her day there in the Philippines. I have some of my team members in the Philippines. So, guys, we're going to wrap things up here. Say thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day if you're just starting in the Philippines, or get to bed if you're in the UK. Can say good night to Allie. She's like, oh my goodness, would you guys please finish up already? I'm trying to get some Z's on the couch here. And I'm going to go enjoy some time with my wife as the kids are in bed now, which is awesome. And Peter, thank you.
And I'm going to turn off these lights because it's disrupting my circadian rhythm. So good night, everybody.
Okay, see you guys.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.